Okay, class, welcome to another lecture on transportation, urban regional transportation systems. And in this lecture, we'll be revisiting some travel modes and their characteristics. And most of you who have already studied the different courses in your bachelor's regarding transportation planning or engineering, maybe, you might have gone through these different types of modes. So this lecture will be kind of a quick reminder on how the travel modes which are commonly used and how they are different characterized and compared to each other. So we'll begin from when the industrial revolution started uh, and we moved from carriages to steam engines. That dramatically cut down our travel times, and that travel times have been reducing over over some time period. So these kind of technological advancements or type of mode basically tells you how fast you can reach from one point to another, how much mass can be transferred from one point to another, what would be the speed, the distances, the comfort level, the safety and the security. So every mode of transportation has its own characteristics. So over the time periods, we have been observing that we can travel on air, land, and by sea. So we have constructed different ways to travel. For example, on land, we have constructed railways, highways, and we have been traveling along the canals as well, and that can be construed as a part of land and maritime. That waterways. So in the late 20th century, we have moved towards the airports, and that has come up as a global way of transporting logistics as well as some passengers. So global mobility systems is predominantly always used for airports or maybe uh, logistics. Uh, Now, these are the common, I can say, different ways to travel. So we'll go into one of them each by each, and then we can have some kind of a discussion on some potential advantages and disadvantages of using a way of transport or mode of transport. So transport sector is basically, if we're talking about dividing into different things, then we are talking about land, water, and air. And we again, and the third one is the fourth one is pipeway as well. But generally, the most three common are land, water, and air, and there are some different modes available under each sector. And depending upon the way of transportation, are we going to be transporting or transferring human beings, or we're going to be loading and unloading the freight or cargo? So that those are two different systems which are which can use this kind of uh, ways. Call it land, water, and air. So let's go into one by one. So by land, we're talking about railways, roadways, highways, and pipeways. So the most common and the most go-to method, or when we're talking about transport, the main thing which comes to mind is, for example, I'm talking about how can we improve the transportation system. So what the only thing which comes directly to our mind is maybe the road system. So so if someone is talking about transportation system, it's obviously, or most of the time, majority of the time, it means that that person is talking about road infrastructure or road development or improving the road conditions, road transportation systems. So that is the most common and most prevalent and preferred method by many people. The second we're talking about is the pipeways in which people can sit in some kind of pipes, and that can we can move from one point to another. And this is the concept of hyperloop, in which Elon Musk suggested that people can travel in sort of capsules, and they can travel from one point to another in pipeways, and that is very fast system. Another means are your seaways and your airways. So that is another medium of transportation. So let's talk about some road infrastructure in which different modes have evolved from omnibus to cable cars, tramways, buses, and then automobiles. And now these are some evolution of time which have introduced us to different modes of transportation. So another are the non-motorized modes, which are often uh, underutilized or underreported, or I mean, not paid too much attention. But these modes are there. So this is also a mode of travel. Walking or biking uh, is also a mode of travel. By biking, I mean this bicycling. So these non-motorized modes are often neglected in our transportation systems. And if you think about it, most of our transportation is on by foot or by bicycles in the majority of our trips. For example, you're going out somewhere. So the first thing you use, your kind of mode you use is your foot. So you're going to the train station, maybe you're going to the airport. So you are going to walk out of your house. So that is kind of a trip as well. Uh, so let's talk about the different modes of transportation. So depending on the two systems, like freight and passengers. So again, I'm usually focused too much on passengers. So that can be divided into urban, suburban, and in urban, within urban areas, there are different ways of traveling. And with respect to intercity transportation, your modes can vary. So let's talk about the first evolution of cars. We have like seen it has the modes have improved in the way of maybe speed, and the people have been using different kinds of these modes. And with technological advancements, maybe these technologies can started covering uh, more distances, more power engines. Maybe then we moved on to some kind of hybrid cars, and I don't know, maybe in the future what kind of transportation system is there, like smart city and uh, computer driven or these cars. So that is the future of transportation system. So talking about cars per inhabitants in the world, that how many cars per 1,000 people are available in the world. So America reports around 800 cars per thousand inhabitants. Like every thousand people out of 1,000 people, 800 people have cars in America. Then 600 in Germany, in the European Union 470, Russia 260, and Romania. In China it's around 40 per 1,000 inhabitants. So my question here is, how many cars per 1,000 people does Pakistan have? Take a wild guess. Anyone? How many cars per 1,000 citizens in Pakistan? But not citizens, I mean inhabitants. It can be urban, rural as well. So, anyone? Just take a guess. It's fine. Yes, there's one.
Sir, 500 ke बाद?
Like 500 out of 1,500 people have persons have car in Pakistan.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay, great, great. Anyone else? I am, please. Yes.
Sir, up to 100, sir, I think.
100. Okay. 500. We have 100. We have 500. Yes, Ahmed.
Sir, I think 5 to 10.
5 to 10. Okay. Good estimate. 5, 10. Okay, maybe. Yes. Anyone else? Yes, Sharyar.
15 to 20, sir.
15 to 20. Okay. Yes, Rida.
So at least 500
500.
inhabitants. तो
Okay,
मतलब 50% से ऊपर ही होगा.
Okay, okay, around 50%. Okay, that is also estimate. Okay.
Yes, sir, least estimate. Yeah, इससे ऊपर ही होते हैं.
Okay, okay. So are you sure about that?
No, sir, sure तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं. वैसे ही जो observation है उसके बारे में.
It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, yeah. It's a good observation for me. I was also. Anyone else? Please.
50 to 70, sir.
50 to 70. Okay. Okay. Good estimation. Yes. Yes, Samad.
Yes, sir. 40 to 50 के range में शायद.
40 to 50. Okay. Yes. Yes, there's one. You want to change your number?
Sir, net पे देखा 20.2 है.
Okay. Okay. Net पे देखा. Okay. As per the government reported data, I don't know, 2016. This is 2016 or 17 data set. I'll give you a date if I remember, but 17 is the reported by the government of Pakistan that 17 people of 1,000 people have cars. So now just imagine if, like some people have said, 500 cars. So 500 cars per 1,000 inhabitants. It's 50% of people in Pakistan have cars, their own private cars. What will happen to the road condition in Pakistan? Nowadays, 17. It's include your, by the way, it includes your rural and urban population. So only 17 people have out of 1,000. Maybe in urban area it might be increased to 40, 50. I don't know. Maybe 50. I did not find the breakup data in urban context. That how many urban people have these cars. So okay, so just imagine what will happen on our roads. What would be the traffic situation in Pakistan if more people have cars? If you are going to be, let's say, if you're going to be comparing, like we have cars like America, for example. Of course, our road infrastructure cannot handle so much traffic, but still, 17 for me it was, well, when I was researching on this number, is this statistics, I was very much amazed as well that I was also not as I was also estimating, okay, maybe 100, maybe 80, but 17 was, it was never in my mind that it would be less than 25 or 50. So that was astonishing for me as well. So this is statistics, published statistics. So I don't know, maybe the actual car number on the ground, maybe these are based on the registered cars. So unregistered, maybe if we incorporate maybe 20, maybe it increased to 2022. So, but right now, because we'll be linking, we'll be staying with the statistics provided by the government. So as per the government of Pakistan, 17 cars per 1,000 inhabitants. Yes, Salia.
Sir, this data is just for cars or for like automobiles में motorcycles भी आ जाते हैं? Because
No,
Pakistan में like, low income
yes,
families they usually own a motorcycle.
yeah. By car, I mean a family car, a private car is a car with 4 wheels. Yeah. So yes, people who have taken a guess that it might be over 500, 400. So yes, so that is the current situation of transportation system in Pakistan regarding roads. So some people now in social sciences, people some signify that having a car in a household is a economic asset in your house. So having a car is a good thing. So some people also correlate a number of cars in an area, number of cars per population also signifies that it means that the GDP of that per capita is very good. So they correlate that number of cars per 1,000 population or number of cars per person is directly correlated to GDP per capita. So now these statistics, okay, if you correlate them, you might find a very good correlation between these two. That having a car means a very good economic life in quality of life in your area. But of course, it has different issues are also there. So just blindly attributing that number of cars per population, if that number is high, it means that people living in that area is having a very good economic, you can say, good finances, or their way of life is economically strong. I would not say it, but some people do make this argument in the field. Okay. What about your, do you think that having a car per population is a very good indicator for economic, to judge an economic area, economic development of an area or a household? If anyone wants to, like, what's your opinion? Come on. Anyone? Okay. Coming to the advantages of road now. Okay, then I'll, yes, Pimra, please.
Assalamualaikum, sir. Sir, I don't think that owning a vehicle like a car is a good indicator of an economic for place economic growth, because I mean, अगर पाकिस्तान में देखा जाए हमारे यहाँ तो I feel like every other person owns a car, whether they live in a village or whether they live in a city. It does not indicate कि वो मतलब बहुत ही well off होंगे, but वो they collect money just to own a car to say that we have a car.
So kind of a status symbol.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So, but there are studies proven which have said that they have positively correlated number of cars with the GDP per capita.
Sir,
Like
perhaps
GDP
it's
per
true.
capita.
Yes.
Yes, yes, please continue.
Sir, I guess perhaps it's true for many places, but sometimes in some cases, I don't think it should be the sole indicator of an economic growth of a place, किसी जगह की economic growth का sole indicator नहीं हो सकता.
Yes,
There have
definitely.
to
That
be other
Yeah,
indicators.
that is also my viewpoint. But usually people say that number of cars have increased. That means economic prosperity has been happening in Pakistan. Number of motorcycles have increased on road. Means people have more purchasing power. They can buy these things, and the economic way of life is getting better. But at the same time, you need to understand that population spurt growth is also happening. So of course, number of cars and number of motorcycles will increase on the road. So number of cars per thousand population, or this indicator, many people use it to link it to the economic growth, and statistically it is all right. Logically, like mathematically, it is okay. But you are right that that should not be the only indicator to address the economic development of an area. Yes, Ahid, please.
Sir, number of vehicles per household could be an indicator to judge economic situation of the overall situation. Like if a household owns a single vehicle, तो आप उसको जो है डाउट में डाल सकते हैं कि हम लोग इसको ओवरऑल मतलब बिगर पिक्चर में हम लोग इसको नहीं गड़बड़ में ले सकते. लेकिन if a household owns more than one car, two cars, so that could be a indicator, I think.
Okay. Yes, yes, okay. Because you're also right to one from one point of view, because having a transportation asset in your house increases your mobility in the city. And when you have mobility in the city, you can go to work, you can come back to work. So it means that you are now open to economic opportunities now. You can travel anywhere in the country or in the city to travel. But the people who don't have vehicle and they have to go by bus and they have to by walk, so they have limited economic opportunities as well. So that has also been proven in the scientific literature that having a transportation asset in the household has direct contribution towards the economic opportunities in his or her area. So from that point of view, Ahid, you're also right. So you're also right that we should not overestimate this as well. Yes, Sharalam, please share your viewpoint.
Sir, I would like to share a very relevant quote in this regard. It is a quote of Gustavo Petro. He was mayor of Colombia. He said that a rich country is not where the poor people have cars, but it is the one where rich people use public transportation.
Yes, Sharam, thank you for sharing. That's an excellent quote. That rich people should also use the transportation system. That signifies that your transportation system is good. That country is economically good. So yes, you are also right. Yes. Anyone else they want to add something? Yes, Sharam, you want to add something or?
No, sir.
You did.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. So yeah, this is. Yes, thank you, Sharalam. So this is what I want, that discussion is happening, and you are now critically thinking about whatever I'm saying. You're not just blindly agreeing with me. You just need to think. That is what I want out of this course. You need to critically reevaluate. Okay, coming back to the topic, what advantages of road? So again, I'll open the floor for question for students' feedback. What are the advantages of road? Let's take an example for Pakistan. In case of Pakistan, what are the advantages to travel on road as compared to railway or air transport? Yes, Hamza.
सर पाकिस्तान में रोड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बहुत अच्छा है, कंफर्टेबल है और फास्ट है, स्पेशली जब मोटरवेज को आप कंसिडर करें, क्योंकि हमने फॉर द पास्ट फ्यू डेकेड्स बिल्कुल कंप्लीटली मोटरवेज पर फोकस किया है, जबकि रेलवे हमारा बहुत ही निगलेक्टेड सेक्टर रहा है. तो इसलिए कंफर्ट और जो है ना Speed भी.
Comfort, safe, speed. Okay. Anyone else? Why you prefer to go by car or by road? It might include your transportation,
So by
your
road,
bus as well. Yes, by road.
by road is a more flexible than other transportation systems are in Pakistan.
Yes, another very good point. It's flexible, safe, comfort, and safety. Yes, Rizwan.
Sir, economical.
Economical. Yes, very good. Economical. It's economical to travel. Yes, I am.
सर इकोनॉमिकल पॉइंट था उसके साथ जो है ना आप रास्ते में खूबसूरत जगह भी देख सकते हैं आप जब रोड पे ट्रेवल कर सकते हैं.
Oh, good. So vistas बड़े प्यारे हैं. Yes, Ahmed, you raise your hand first. Ahmed.
Sir, other modes are not developed. On the other hand, roads are developed in the past few years. So only a mode of transport that is available to the population is roads by road.
No, the option is you have all three modes option. You have railways. You have okay for some areas. Okay, for remote areas, I would agree that road is the only option for remote areas. But other than that, for between major cities commute, you have this mode open. Yes, Shah Faisal.
Sir, road is actually saving over time.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Hello?
Yes, Faisal,
Sir,
please.
Sir,
GG.
Sir, actually, it saves over time.
I still can't get your point. You can speak in
Sir,
Urdu.
आवाज आ रही है आपको? Hello, sir, आवाज आ रही है आपको?
GG, Faisal.
Sir, transport by road actually saves our time.
Save your time. Yes,
Yes, sir.
very good point. Time is important. So time. So maybe time becomes a very good factor for you. Anyone else raise their hand? I think. Okay, so now you have provided like these are some very good advantages of road, like it's flexible, it's cheaper, its speed is good, it's convenient. So that is main advantages of the road network. So what are the disadvantages now? Okay, so we have advantages, everyone said. Let's talk about disadvantages. What are the backdraws of using this type of transport? Yes, Ahmed.
Sir, high maintenance costs, sir.
Okay, maintenance costs, yes. Yes, Rizwan.
सर एक्सीडेंट्स वगैरह के चांसेस क्योंकि ह्यूमन की इन्वॉल्वमेंट ज्यादा हो जाती है तो इस वजह से.
Okay, chances of accidents are high. Yes, I am.
Sir, noise pollution, sir, इससे बहुत ज्यादा होती है road से.
Okay, noise pollution. Okay, that can be one point. Okay, so here are some of the disadvantages. Is usually okay for short distance. It's okay. So and noise pollution, air pollution, depending on even the weather conditions, so it becomes disadvantages. So over a long period of time, roads become the first main point is that it is okay for short distance. Maybe how much okay, let me ask me put it this way: how much of you think that it is ideal time or this is the maximum time I can spend in the car from traveling to from one point to another? So without hurting your like having your physical enduring your physical body, in which after certain time you don't feel tired if you commute. So what is that optimum time in your opinion? Everyone has their own time. Yes, Hamza, please.
So 6 to 8 hours.
So after 6 in 5 hours you'll be fresh. So my question is like in the rest of 5 hours, if you travel less than 6 hours, you will be fresh. It's fine for you. Is that right, Hamza? Or do you want to change
Yes,
your
sir.
number? Okay,
Yes,
so good.
sir.
So it means your endurance level is good. Okay, very good. I personally, if I have to travel more than 2 hours or 3 hours, I become very annoyed that I have to travel more than 2 hours or 3 hours. So that's everyone has their own limits. That's totally acceptable. That's normal. Yes, Ahmed.
Yes, sir. I would also choose 6 hours, sir. I think 6 hours will be my under my endurance level, sir.
Okay, okay. Yes, Shoaib, you raise your hand.
Sir, maximum 1 to 2 hours.
1 to 2 hours. Okay, that's fine. I am.
सर मेरे ख्याल से ये रोड पे डिपेंड करता है, आप किस रोड पे जा रहे हैं। मोटरवे पे जा रहे हैं तो आपको कोई और स्टेमिना होगा, फिर या फिर आप कोई कच्चे रोड पे जा रहे हैं फिर उसमें कोई और चीजें होती है सर।
Your valid, your concern is totally valid. Yes, you're also right. So it also very much depends upon your age. For me, yes, with age, when I was young, I used to travel 6-7 hours without getting tired at the same time. Like I used to travel all night and the morning, reach somewhere and then go sightseeing or something. So age factor plays a very important role. Age, your gender. So these are some of the components which have that can contribute towards the endurance level of for traveling. Okay, move on. Vulnerable to congestion, traffic delays, or accidents even. So this ever happened to you? Anyone? So like, if you go 5 minutes early, you'll find the road is empty, and if you're 5 minutes late, or I mean 1 minute late, the road is full. So has this ever happened to you? Yes, Hamza.
यस सर, बहुत बार हुआ मेरे साथ सर। मैं एबटाबाद में 4 इयर्स रहा हूँ, उधर एक ही मेन रोड है, और अगर आप सुबह 7 से पहले पहले आए ना तो नथिंग, कोई ट्रैफिक नाम की चीज़ नहीं है, बंदा नाम की चीज़ नहीं होती। और 7 बजे 7 सवा 7 तक स्कूल खुलते हैं तो फुल रोड बंद हो जाती है सुजुकी और जो है ना सुजुकियों से और वो डब्बों से।
Okay, yes, yes. Yes, Pimra.
यस सर, अक्सर से ज़्यादा दफ़ा इस तरह होता है। आई लिव इन नेवल एंकरेज व्हिच इज़ नियर बहरिया टाउन वाली साइड पे। तो जो एक्सप्रेसवे है, अगर बाय चांस आप थोड़ा सा लेट हो जाएं तो बिल्कुल ब्लॉक हो जाती है एक्सप्रेसवे। एंड अक्सर एक्सप्रेसवे के अलोंग आजकल भी काम शाम हो रहा है, तो और ट्रक्स वगैरह भी इधर से गुजर रहे होते हैं, तो काफ़ी बुरी सिचुएशन हो जाती है इफ यू आर लेट।
Yes, yes. So yes, so that is quite common concern. I'll experience my friend's experience in Bangkok. What happened is that he used to uh, travel around, leave for office around 7 o'clock, and he would reach his office around 7:30. And he had to then he used to wait from 7:30 to 9 p.m. just so because if he leaves his home at 7:15 or 7:30, he will reach his office at 9:30. So he used to go just to avoid that he is coming late to the work. He spent 1.5 hour just outside his office in the car, maybe just sleeping or having breakfast. So that time is a very important slot. So even in expressway, most of our next colleagues, my colleagues, they said that if they have to travel via expressway, so they are at 3:30 and 4 o'clock, they are leaving in their office, because they said that if we are late around 4:30 or 4:45, they will be stuck in traffic, and it will take them 2 hours instead of 20 minutes. So yes, now these 2 hours and 20 minutes, the gap between them, we can it is called okay, we'll go into detail, but it's called road congestion index. We can calculate that usual time is 20 minutes, and during peak hours the travel time is this much. So dividing them, we can find out a value of congestion as well. So we'll go into the congestion analysis in the coming lectures as well. Okay, then let's move on. Okay, another question again, students, I'd like you to contribute in this as well. Why do we use cars? Why do you prefer to use your own car or bike? We are as a planner or as an environmentalist, or no, I should say, as most planners or environmentalists, they are of the view that we should go and opt for public transportation system, right? But why do people? They are you are all educated. You are all more or less you would be like saying that okay, yes, I'm supporting environmental friendly practices, most of you, but you're still using your own car, despite knowing the fact that you are directly harming your environment. why do we use it? Yes, Saifullah, please.
आई थिंक फॉर अगर हम प्राइवेसी पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से देखें तो सर पर्सनल जो कार है वो ज़्यादा सेफ है बाकी ट्रांसपोर्टेशन से या व्हीकल से.
Okay, your concern is privacy. Very good point. Yes, privacy is a very important factor. Yes, Rida, you raise your hand first.
सर एक तो सिक्योरिटी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट है जो ऑलरेडी डिस्कस कर लिया. उसके अलावा सर ईज एंड कंफर्ट के जब आपके घर में एक गाड़ी मौजूद होगी तो आप मतलब आपके लिए ज्यादा कंफर्टेबल कि आप जस्ट उसको ड्राइव करो और जाओ. और इसके अलावा सर जो आजकल स्टेटस दिखाने के लिए लोग मतलब उनको होता है कि हम बस गाड़ी लें. तो सर ये
तो गाड़ी के what about type of car? Is it Mehran or city or like?
सर नहीं स्टेटस के लिए तो सर फिर मेहरान नहीं लेते लोग. मतलब वो तो फिर वही है ना बात.
No, for me, for example, I have Mehran in my home. So in Lahore, I have my city car as well, but I don't use it in Lahore. So Mehran is very convenient for me if I want to travel within a city. So of course, so it's personal choice. So convenience and comfort is there. Yes, Ahid, you're next.
Sir, poor transportation system forces people to opt for their cars.
Okay, so inadequate or yes, okay, inefficient public transportation can be a factor which motivates you to take out your own car on the road, despite knowing the fact that you'll be stuck in traffic and you'll increase your mental agitation. It'll give you anxiety. We still use our cars. Okay, yes, Samad, please.
सर इसके अलावा पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट में सर टाइम वेस्टेज ज़्यादा होती है. इसकी बनिस्बत अगर बंदा अपनी प्राइवेट कार पे जाए, अगर ट्रैफिक के से वो ना हो, ब्लॉकेज ना हो, तो फिर वो अपनी मर्जी से टाइम पे पहुंच सकता है.
Okay, but introduction of this bus rapid transportation systems or Orange Line, now I think they are very much convenient in Lahore Orange Line. It is very much convenient that we can save a lot of time if we go for public transportation. But people are still taking cars on the roads. So okay, you are also right that if inefficiency of public transportation with respect to time is an important factor. Yes, Pimra.
Sir, I feel adding to the safety and security factor, I feel that being a female also, मुझे at least personally, I would actually like to travel by public transport, but because बहुत ज़्यादा safety के concerns आ जाते हैं बीच में, तो उसकी वजह से I have no other choice than to take my own car. And I don't know ये इसको हम किस bracket में exactly add in करते हैं, but I feel like this is a big even के नस्ट की भी मैं ट्रांसपोर्टेशन को मैं कंसिडर कर रही थी, बट फॉर वन रीजन और द अदर कि रात हो जाएगी, अंधेरा हो जाएगा एंड लाइक दैट, so I left it out. Okay, no, I'll do it on my own. So I feel like this also counts a lot.
Yeah. So, like talking about this gender inclusivity, so inclusive planning or inclusive public transportation system is a valid concern, and gender also plays a part. What have you thought about that? Is our public transportation system, even it is, I would say, disability friendly, like people with special needs? Is it friendly for those as well? Is it there are a lot of different marginalized groups out there, so are we including that sort of thing in our system as well? So that is again an inefficiency or inadequacy of our public transportation systems. And yes, you're right, all our valid concerns are there. So if someone is asking me for why am I traveling on, like, why am I traveling using my car from coming from Lahore to Islamabad? Why I'm not using public transportation? The same transportation system is using the same route. My main concern is time. That I will have to go. It's not about the money, it's about the time. I will go to the bus, I will sit at the bus station, I'll buy the ticket, and more or less I have to, if I don't get the ticket, if I'm not lucky, I have to wait for 1 hour for the bus at the bus station. Then I will sit in the bus, and the bus will take me around 4.5 hours to reach Lahore. And then I again have to get off, take a small rickshaw or a Uber or Kareem to go back home. So that time period for me is around 6 to 7 hours. Whereas if I go by my own car, I just sit in my car, and in 3.5 hours I'm at my home, in my home. So I'm dramatically reducing down my transportation time. So for me, time is important. But these factors vary a lot. It will vary according to your income, your occupation, your gender, your past experiences, uh, and depends upon how many people are traveling with you. Okay, like another point. I'm traveling to Lahore. I usually take 3 or 4 of my colleagues on my own car. So what happens? I can divide the cost. But if I have to travel alone, then I will opt for public transport because that would be cheaper. I would then refrain from spending a lot of money. So time and then maybe money. So that are the factors we need to understand it. And understanding these sort of factors would help us in designing a very effective gender or just I'll use the word inclusive public transportation system for the society. Okay, we like flexibility, automobile is everywhere, privacy, prestige, status, and just lastly, I don't know how many people just like to drive. How many people are like, okay, let's go for a long drive? So everyone wants this have do you any one of you enjoy this sensation of driving? Controlling something, controlling a machine and driving it. Do you like it? Yes, Ahid.
सर नॉट ऑल द टाइम, कभी कभार मूड पे होता है.
Most like the weather nowadays in Islamabad or in evening. So
जी
that
सर.
okay. Or having going out with someone. How about that? Okay. Yes, Hamza.
पर्सनली तो कुछ खास नहीं सर, लेकिन मेरे वालिद साहब बड़े शौकीन है ड्राइव करने के, स्पेशली ऑन मोटरवेज.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Like thrill of maybe some people have a thrill of fast driving, like they can drive fast. Okay, so that is yeah, expensive. Okay, I think yeah. So maintenance is cheap as compared to other things. In the no, that again is debatable. What kind of road we are talking about? What kind of public transportation or rail network we are talking about? So this statement, I would like to remove this statement because it depends upon the context. But okay, coming back, yes. Okay, so enjoy the sensation of driving. Let's move on. So these are some classification by the this is American by American I think profit manual. So these are the classes of public this transportation road transports as well. So there are different classifications as well. So when I'm talking about car, I'm obviously talking about passenger car. Let's move on to the rail network now. And in rail network, there are different rail networks. We'll go into each one by detail. Okay, so transportation speed limits, like evolution of transportation. Like we were from 8 kilometers per hour to more than 500 kilometers per hour. And now these are some different transportation system, and high speed or very high speed transportation railway system are now being added all over the world, and it is in the future. I was just talking about it as well, that we are still at locomotives and interurban, but we need to shift our railway network into high speed road networks that maybe if like for example, if I am traveling with my own car in 3.5 hours, and now with high speed rail network, I'll reach Lahore in 2 hours, then I'll obviously opt for this rail network. So that is a very important component. So if a high speed rail network is there, and is it economical or not, I will always opt for this high speed trains. So these are also some different speed limits of high speed rail networks. By the way, anyone have driven over around 200 kilometers per hour in their own car? Anyone? Yes. And where?
सर 198 तक गया वो.
Okay. Motorway?
जी सर, रात के टाइम पे.
Okay, you shouldn't, but okay, that's fine. Anyone else? Yes, Arham?
सर 210 तक गए थे सऊदीया में मदीना जाते हुए रास्ते में.
Okay, good. Okay, 200 is like you are approaching to the high speed rail network. Okay, so these are some of the limits. I don't think I've ever crossed around 140 or 150. I'm a slow driver. Okay, so then advantages. Okay, what are the advantages of rail network? Anyone, if they want to like add something like, okay, this is the reason I should opt for rail network. I should give up my car and I'll go on train. Yes, Rida.
इसमें वैसे मेरा एक्सपीरियंस नहीं है रेलवेज में कभी ट्रेवल करने का, लेकिन जो मुझे पता है सर, वो इकोनॉमिकली इसको बहुत देखा जाता है कि इकोनॉमिकल होता है एज कम्पेयर टू अदर मोड्स, अदर वेज ऑफ ट्रांसपोर्टेशन।
यस, मास ट्रांसपोर्टेशन में ये चीप पड़ जाता है पर कैपिटा। यस हमजा।
यस सर, चीप भी है और फास्ट भी है। मेरा कुछ वक्त लगा है सर जो है ना तबलीग में, तो टोटली हम ट्रैवल सारा ट्रेन के ऊपर करते हैं। इट्स वेरी चीप एंड कन्वीनियंट एंड फास्ट।
Like for group movement, agar you are with a group of friends and you're moving, so you will opt for rail network, rail over public your own car if there are a large number of people, not only 3 or 4. Maybe you are a group of 20, 14, maybe you'll opt for rail, and it is if it is a long travel. Yes, Saifullah.
सर एक तो कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव बहुत ज़्यादा है रेल, और दूसरा सर इन्वायरमेंटल फ्रेंडली है हमारे पास रेल सिस्टम। हमारे कंट्री के अंदर तो नहीं, खैर फॉरेन कंट्री में देखा जाए तो सर इन्वायरमेंट फ्रेंडली।
Yes, per capita carbon emissions is relatively low in rail networks. Another is it is also very one of the safest and most comfortable form of transport. So if you travel by rail, it has constant like speed. So not like in the car you need to accelerate, decelerate, use brake or something. So rail is a very consistent. So you will your body will be more relaxed in this transportation system. Okay, so utility services per cost is high, is low, probably because it has high capacity. Okay, it can be integrated with different modes as well, and it like it can directly go into your inner transportation system of your city, so it can be linked directly to it. So if you can like just move all rail networks as well. Okay, transportation for dangerous goods, and this is good that we should use train systems in Pakistan. We are still using trucks to transport oil or say this petrol, and that is very dangerous. If you remember that incident of Bahawalnagar, that okay. What are the disadvantages? Anyone? No. Okay. Inaccessibility, routes are fixed. Yes, Sharia.
सर शॉर्ट डिस्टेंसेस के लिए अच्छा नहीं है सर।
हाँ, short distance. Obviously, short distances के लिए yes, you're right. You can't own a private train. It has special needs for maintenance and equipment loading and unloading. Okay, so this is a Lahore mass transit project. So how many of you have like yes, Hamza, you want to add something?
सर टाइमिंग स्ट्रिक्ट होती है ट्रेन की, टाइमिंग पर नहीं पहुंचे तो रह जाएगी आपकी ट्रेन।
Is it true for Pakistan train system schedules as well or not?
सर वो एक अलग किस्म का डिसएडवांटेज है सर। अगर आप टाइम वेस्ट कर देगी जो है ना सही टाइम पे नहीं।
The point is when you are late, the train will leave on time. But when you are on time, the train will always leave late. Okay, yes, Hamza, thank you. Okay, this orange line, this mass transportation system, that the network is planned, that there will be 4 or 5 lines which will be launched in Lahore. Well, I'm not asking the question that is it feasible to launch or not feasible to launch. I would just like to ask that how many of you have traveled in orange line? We call it orange line, but that's the only line available till now. Anyone who has traveled in orange line? And what did you like about it? And what observations did you made that this is good point and this is the bad point? Okay, no one has traveled on intra-city rail network. Okay, okay, good. I have also not traveled yet, but I wanted your opinion. Okay, how many of you are from, by the way, from Lahore, or you have been traveling in Lahore during the orange line? Just raise your hand. You have seen it operating in Lahore city. Yes, okay. So some of you have like traveled to Lahore, but you have not used orange line. As a planner, uh, you should be kind of think about it that you're always advocating planners. I'm also talking about myself as well, that I'm always advocating that public transportation is better, but I've personally not used it because I do not need it as of yet. Yes, Shoaib, you want to add something?
ये सर, लेकिन सर रूटिंग मैटर करती है। अगर आपके रूट में हम कभी इस्तेमाल करने का मौका ही नहीं मिला, तो रूट कुछ इस तरह से हैं कि वो फिजिबल नहीं है सबके लिए।
Yes, definitely. Yes, that is exactly my point. That is probably why I've not used it. You're right. Okay. So light rail. We don't have light rails in Pakistan. We don't have these light rails in which they are slow moving train or trams moving in the city center, especially in the downtown center. But I have observed them in various European cities, that all the downtown is pedestrianized, and only this kind of light rail can move in the city center. So that is very convenient. That in the outskirts, in the like in the light, I'll go into the suburban trains in the next slides. No, it's not there. Okay, so suburban trains in which high-speed rail networks are outside, and once you reach into the down center, you have to shift into smaller carriages, and that are most of them are totally operating on electricity, so they're environmental friendly. They are solar based. Uh, so those are important. But I've not seen these kind of light rails in Pakistan. I heard there were trams in Karachi along the seashore, but I'm not sure. But I don't think they're working anymore, or I'm not sure how much this thing is true. And when I heard about trams in Karachi in the 80s or 70s, I think. Okay. Okay, then I'll just I'll push some now. So pipelines, we don't usually regard this as a way of transportation because we don't personally use it. But all of your goods, your oil, let's say your gas, electricity, these all are coming through pipes. So that is the mode of transportation in which your goods are transported from one post to another at a relatively very less cost. So these are there. Water and sewage is also a pipeline which are transferring your waste. So trunk line, different kind of pipelines are already there. Advantages, okay, it can be laid out very quick, like pretty much every terrain without any much difficulties. It can go for high distances, very reliable. It will break down costs are, maintenance costs are not so high, and easily replayable. So it is doesn't care what is the weather. You might have the same goes for like internet cables under the sea. That is also pipe based, environmental friendly. Disadvantage is inflexible, can only carry certain volume. Initial investment is high, depending on the need, depending on the fluid. Yes, so yeah, sometimes if it is underground, it's become very difficult to pinpoint where is the leakage or where is the problem on the pipeline if it is underground. Okay, then in the pipeline in which we're talking, there are two ways: inland shipping, sea shipping, maybe. So most of the supply chains are made or are all of your supply chain is done through waterways because it's one of the cheapest mode of travel. Although it takes a lot of time to travel, but it is the cheapest option if you want to send your goods from one place to another, especially globally if you want to send it. But this is a picture of Venice, in which you call this, if you can see my Okay, this one, it's called water bus. So they are using inland waterways, canalways in which they are traveling from one point to another. That is called gondolin. This is a small ship. Personal ships are also there. So they call that water bus in this city. So that is one way of travel. How many of you have traveled on boat as a transportation, not as just as a cruise or enjoyment? Like you have purposefully traveled on boat from going to point 1 to point B, not as a recreation. Yes, Arya.
सर टर्की बॉस्फोरस पे एक साइड से दूसरी साइड पे जाने के लिए यही होता है, लाइक दे हैव वाटर बसेस.
Yes, good. Yes, Pimra.
सर फेरी से ट्रैवल करते हैं फ्रॉम पेरिस टू फ्रॉम फ्रांस टू यूके.
Okay. Yeah, these are options already there. Yes, ferries are there. For example, for me, when I was traveling, so if I need to go to island, you have to take by bus from the mainland. If you're ever going to an island, you need to take this some kind of ferries or water buses from mainland to that island. So that kind of working that is important for that. Okay, so different types of waterways, advantages. Okay, bulky good transportation, suitable, but it has long times, cheap motors, powers, it's very energy efficient. It can go across continents, across countries. Disadvantages is like delivery times, difficult to monitor exact. Ports are there at like a deep sea port and everything. So these kind of problems are there for some countries. The broad problem is oil spill. If it happens that a lot of oil is spilled on the which is very deteriorating for the environment and for the marine habitat. Yeah, unloading is a bit difficult depending on the containers that we have. Okay, then quickly moving on to air transportation. Air transportation have evolved, and maybe now space travel can be a part of air travel. So advantage is just safety and relatively and the speed of delivery. That's the only advantage, but safety only because as compared to the rest of the mode of transportation, that has the safest track record. But of course, if there is an accident, then chances of mortality is also very high. Okay. Disadvantage is transfer times take a lot of air in the airport. Yes, Rida, please.
सिर्फ अब सेफ्टी की बात करें तो फिर सर अगर सेफ्टी में देखें तो फिर रोड ज्यादा सेफ नहीं है. मतलब अगर रोड एक्सीडेंट होता है तो उसमें फिर भी स्टिल मतलब डेथ रेट या इतना चांस नहीं होता. आप जख्मी हो जाते हो, ठीक है, वो डिपेंड करता है कि मतलब कितना बड़ा आपका एक्सीडेंट हुआ. लेकिन अगर सर ऊपर से कोई क्रैश होता है एयरप्लेन तो सर तब तो बहुत ही कम प्रोबेबिलिटी होती है कि कोई बच सकेगा या इस तरह से.
Okay, maybe I've not conveyed the message. Say first, you're right in that aspect that if there is an accident in road, there is a chances of survival. But in case of an accident, in case of air travel, the chances of survival is very less. So that is one of the reason some people are afraid of flying. Again, anyone out of you, are you afraid of flying? It's a very common. It's not a big deal. It's quite common among many friends. Everyone afraid of flying. Okay, so it's good. Okay, so by safety I mean, for example, if there are 1 million people are traveling from A to B via let's talk about via road and via air. If 1 million people are traveling from on road, there are more number of road accidents as compared to the as air accidents. How many? There are like I would say hundreds, maybe I'm not sure, hundreds of flights every day. Every hour, so many planes are up in the air. But have you? What do you hear? Every after maybe 6 months, maybe after 1 year, there's a crash. But what about road accidents? Every weekend, every 2 days, 3 days, in every weather condition, you will hear that Oh, so many people died on road. Oh, there was an accident. This was roads happened. Okay, then rail transport. As compared to air, rail transportation is also have higher number of accidents and higher number of deaths per capita, per population. So by that safety standard, by probability or statistics, you have, for example, if you're traveling on road from Lahore to Islamabad, there is a 5% chance of accident. But if you are traveling from via air from Lahore to Islamabad, there is, I think, 0.005% chance of accident. So I'm talking about from mathematical point of view. You're talking about from perception point of view, and that is quite right. That is usually accepted by people. By people, they are afraid to travel by air, and by safety, relatively, I'm talking that as compared to different modes, air transport is the most safest mode out there for passengers, for passenger travel. Rida, you got my point. What I want to say.
Yes, sir. समझा गई थी.
Okay, great. But you're also right. That is the common, I would say, misperception. But we, as a scientific or a or a scientist or a researcher or a planner, we have to think technically, not I would say subjectively. So you're right. So in the beginning, I also had the same doubts. But when I look at the statistics, if I have the statistics, I'll share you in the coming slides. In the next lecture, I'll try to share those statistics, how many deaths per population with respect to air and with respect to roads and railways. Okay, some disadvantages: transfer takes a long time, competition is fierce, high fuel consumption, good quality, high grade petrol is burned in air. A lot of carbon emissions per capita is very high in terms of air travel, and depends upon the weather, noise, and it is contributes to noise and air pollution, and depend upon the infrastructure of construction of a road, airport. So yes, any question? I have completed today's portion of the lecture. So that was a very, I would say, a very easy lecture, but it's maybe you have learned something. So in my opinion, it's very to the point. And again, if you have any questions, queries, comments, suggestions, please feel free to raise your hand. Yes, Samad.
सर ये जो इंटेलिजेंट ट्रांसपोर्टेशन सिस्टम है ITS वो हम इसी कोर्स के अंदर पढ़ेंगे या फिर ये इसका पार्ट नहीं है?
Intelligent transportation system itself is a, I would say, subject. But if you are like willing to, if you want a lecture on some, I can prepare a lecture on that. But right now, I've not thought about it. I've talked about smart city and integration and transportation networks, and so maybe I have a lecture prepared on how technology can help revolutionize your transportation system. So in terms of smart city concept, but yes, you're right. So there is no dedicated lecture on intelligent transportation system, but I can work it out if you want. Anything else? Any other question? Yes, Hamza, please.
ये सर क्वेश्चन तो नहीं है, कुछ ऐड करना था. वो आइसफोबिक मटेरियल हम पीछे एक करके गए हैं. तो आइसफोबिक मटेरियल सर ये वेस्टर्न कंट्रीज जहाँ पे बर्फबारी ज़्यादा होती है ना, तो विंडशील्ड के ऊपर बर्फ जम जाती है, तो उससे नज़र नहीं आता. तो आइसफोबिक कोटिंग करते हैं उसके ऊपर, तो उससे बर्फ उसके ऊपर जमती नहीं है, और जम भी जाए तो हट जाती है. तो आइसफोबिक coating
yes sir, just like antifreeze solution which we put in our car sometimes. Okay, so that thing, yeah, so probably it was icephobic. So thank you, Hamza, for clearing that for the rest of the class. Yes, anyone to add or comment or anything regarding today's lecture? Okay, I'll stop the lecture, stop the recording.